Hello, colleagues. This is the research outline presentation. So the article is titled Peer-Mediated Reinforcement Plus Prompting as Treatment for Off-Task Behavior in Children with ADHD. The research problem was pertaining to extending upon current research on interventions to decrease off-task behavior of students with ADHD. The research questions were how could the authors replicate and extend upon research of functional analysis procedures to assess off-task behavior of students with ADHD, and then examine the efficacy of differential reinforcement of alternative behaviors plus prompting as treatment for off-task behaviors maintained by peer-mediated attention. So the method. So the participants and setting, it was 3 10-year-old children, Amy, Paul, and Steve. The setting was a university laboratory setting made to look like a classroom. And then the student subject all have a history of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And this was from diagnoses from family doctors. The dependent variable was off-task behavior as measured by time off-task. The operational definition of off-task behavior was looking away from an assigned task for more than 3 seconds, unless they were counting on their fingers. The reason why they were counting on their fingers was because they were assigned math problems to do. And so unless they were actually engaged, and counting on their fingers was one of the ways that signified that they were engaged, along with writing on their paper and looking at their paper. So the measurement process of off-task behavior was collected through observation and recorded through a partial time sampling procedure. The intervals were 10 seconds in length unless there was another demand condition present. The inter-observer agreement was established by the mean total agreement scores, and then all total agreement scores were reported were over 85%, and we're looking to score in that 80 to 95% range, or 80 to 100% range for a good inter-observer agreement. The method continued. So the independent variables were the DRA, prompting, verbal prompting from the peer, and then contingency contracting. So at certain points during the assignment, one student in particular was given contingency contracting by saying, if you do this, then you will be eligible to get this reinforcement. There were no fidelity measures or no inter-observer agreement data produced or collected for this. So the procedure: each baseline condition consisted of 5 sessions. 2 participants had 17 total sessions, but the third participant had 20 total sessions, alternating between baseline and treatment conditions. Now, the one participant that got 20 sessions, that was the participant that received contingency contracting. So in the treatment phase, that particular student wasn't responding, or didn't seem to be responding to the peer-mediated attention to get back on task. Therefore, I think a teacher or somebody that was simulating a teacher gave a contingency for the student to be able to get back on task. And then the data, again, shot back up for responding during that. So baseline data was collected in the absence of social contingencies. So there was no peer-mediated reinforcement given during the baseline time and the setting in which the baseline conditions were described with replicable precision. And there was no number of days reported. So it's not within the study how if the sessions happened over multiple days. Design. So a reversal design was utilized with 2 participants and alternating treatment, and the reversal design was used with the third participant as well. So again, baseline data was collected through partial interval time sampling of the behavior, while social attention of any type was void from the classroom. The treatment phases were marked by providing continuous social approval through encouragement and acknowledgement contingent upon on-task behavior. And then behavior, once behavior went off task, the peer prompted the participant to engage in the on-task behavior. If they did not, then all attention was withdrawn from that student, including eye contact. The results showed that there is some relationship in this study between peer-mediated DRA, or differential reinforcement, and prompting and off-task behaviors of 10-year-old children with ADHD. There was a higher percentage per interval of off-task behavior in baseline conditions than there were in treatment conditions. So there was a high amount of off-task behavior during baseline conditions, and then once the treatment was added, peer-mediated reinforcement, then there was a lot less, almost to zero in most cases, of responding when it comes to off-task behavior. Functional control was established in this study. Whenever the baseline conditions were present, there was a lot of responding. Whenever the treatment phase was entered in the DRA, contingency contracting and prompting of getting back on task by the peers, then the off-task behavior decreased significantly. The social validity of this study. We in education have experience with students, some of us do, I know I do, with students being off task, especially in some cases where there is a disability present of ADHD. And this particular study, when it comes to providing peer-mediated reinforcement to students, this could be a very useful tool if the teacher is able to teach some of the other students how to prompt and provide reinforcement for students who are off task in a significant way that doesn't allow them to be successful in school.